on the workshop. So before we get started into me showing you around the workshop, I thought I would tell you a bit about myself. So my name is Jared. I have done an apprenticeship in bench joinery for 2 years, and I've also done a level 3 furniture course for this year that's just happening now. So that's a bit about me. I'm 18 years old and I've just recently got this workshop. It was my dad's shed, but I've kind of like renovated it and ordered it all out and put all my tools in here and machines and everything, as much as I've got at the moment. So without further ado, I thought I would show you around. So as you walk in through the workshop, you are met by my chisel rack. So I've got this rough and gouge, which I made the metal handle myself on a metal lathe. I've got another rough and gouge parting tool, a scraper, there's a bead down tool at the back, spindle gouge, skew, bowl gouge, and a larger parting tool. And there's also some formica at the back, which is used to burn lines in wood turning. And below that there is some other wood turning stuff. So we've got this, which fits into the chuck, and it obviously spins and you can sand components with it. There's also another tool rest. I've got a squaring off tool, reamer, I think it's called reamer barrel or something, for your pens. There's also the pen mandrel, and these are some micro mesh pads which are used to polish up acrylic pens. So below is the Shapak hoover, which just runs along here, up here, and like collects all the dust when I'm sanding, which you've seen in many of my videos. So this is the code for it, if any of you are interested in having a look at it. You can see that. And then following past that, we have got, oh yeah, and also up here is my life centers and everything. So you've got a bradawl and some other bits that fit in the tailstock and the headstock. You have got a drill chuck, and you've also got a saw, which is just when I'm on here and I'm between centres and I don't want to part it because it'll just come flying off at me, I just saw it off and then go from there. And there's also a sign up there which Mum made for me. So this is my SIP lathe, as you can see. So I got the stand and the lathe. This cost me £200 I think for both, which is what I got from my local wood turning club. So this is the code. I don't know if they sell it anymore. I reckon they will, but I don't know if you'll be able to get it for that price, because I got quite a good deal with that. And there's also a variable speed with it, and you get all different belts on it which you can fit. As you can see, there's low speed, mid speed, and high speed. I keep it on the low speed because you have to change the belts every time, and the low speed goes up to about, was it 1300? It says there 1300. So that's fine for me, you know, for now. So yeah, anyway, the lathe has been really good. You know, it's one of the first tools I got after I got into obviously wood turning. So yeah, that is basically what the lathe looks like. So moving on from the lathe, we have got some spanners up there for tightening up. I mainly use it for tightening up my pen mandrel, but also obviously other things. I've got some calipers here. That is a diamond sharpener file, and we've got some pliers as well. There's some glues and finishes and Danish oils and whatever you can probably think of is all up here. I've got then below is some sandpaper. So it ranges from 150 to 400 grit, and I use these mainly for wood turning and for pen turning. So that's what I've always really gone for. I think these are Axminster ones. But there's many other types of them out there. And below that there's just some of the sash clamps and some spirit levels, and even below that there is some vices, this massive vice, and there is a scroll saw which I recently got given. I haven't really used it much, but it looks like a pretty good machine, and yeah, I'll be willing to give it a go. There is a big face mask here, which is alright, but it's really hard to see out of, and I don't know why it is. It doesn't really make much sense. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's alright, but I don't know. I can't really see, so it's a bit hard to, I don't know, turn. But this is some saws here and an axe, and this is basically just some of my dad's stuff down here as well. And here is some saw horses, or trestles for balancing wood on and everything, which I haven't really used much at the moment, but I'm sure I will. So yeah, that is this area of the workshop. So over this side of the workshop, you've got my chop saw, my DeWalt chop saw, you've got my pillager, which is a Clark pillager, and you've got my record power bandsaw, and there's some other little bits like sandpaper and screws and clamps and all that over here as well. So I'll bring you in for a bit of a closer look. So over here you've got my record power BS9 bandsaw. Really great bandsaw. Again, one of the first tools I got with the lathe. This is mainly for cutting. I got it mainly for cutting my pen blanks to start with, so that's the jig I've got there. And I've also got the side of mitre fence, which again is always loose, like they never fit in these properly. And I've also got a push stick. The lathe I think is about 4 inches possibly maximum you've got there, which is fine. I've never needed any more, so that's fine for now. The only downside with this bandsaw is the fact that the fence, you have to, like when you put it on here, you have to measure from here to here and the back every time you want to cut something. Obviously if you're doing a curve it's fine because you're just going to do it without the fence. But if I was going to get another bandsaw, I would get one which has got the bar here, so then it can lock down and just be square every time, and it just saves a lot less time trying to set it and make sure it's square. But overall, it's been a really nice bandsaw, and yeah, I would really recommend it. So moving across, you have got some screws and other fixings, KD blocks up there, some dowels, and below is some pencils, and that is a marking knife that I've recently made. So you just unscrew this bit here, and you can replace the blade. Also got some clamps there, and some Irwin ones there. So moving down, there is my DeWalt chop saw. So this is my DeWalt, was it DW S774 if you're interested, and this was a really good price at the time. I got this for £150 from Toolstation. I think now they've put it up to like £250, which is a lot more expensive, but the reason I got this was because of the bars that slide in the chop saw. So it saves you a lot less room at the back, and it's just a lot more space saving. You can bevel all the way around, and you've got the tilt as well. You also got this clamp, which I don't use that much, and you can also put it on this side. But when you pull this down, it hits it, so then you can't go all the way through with I don't know, it just seems a bit silly. And then you've also got the extraction here, which again, it's a really good saw, but I wish it had come out to the side, because it kind of defeats the object of having it like without the bar sticking out the back. Because there you can get like the Bosch Axle Glide ones, which are really good and a lot more expensive than this, but it just would have made more sense to bring it round. But I don't know, that's just me being picky. But yeah, I plugged the extraction into there. So talking of the extraction, this is my Karcher Hoover, and this is what I use to hoover the workshop, and I plug it into my bandsaw here, which I made this adapter which goes into here, and I also plug it into the back of the chop saw, which is just around there. Anyway, that's the chop saw, and it's been a really good chop saw. Love it, the bits, and I haven't got it bolted down because sometimes I need to move it up there or this way depending on what stuff I'm cutting. But no, it's been really good. So above that I've got my sanding rack, which I've just kind of bodged together a bit, but it does the job. So I've got all the discs for my orbital sander, and these are all for hand sanding. So yeah, that's not really much to say, it's just sandpaper. And below is all my granddad's G-clamps. There's just a radio, and this is a mallet I recently made. So this is, I got given this piece of wood which is already glued together for the top, and I turned the bottom so you can see the rings there which I put in with that Formica. Moving on, this is my pillar drill. So this is the Clark pillar drill there, and yeah, just, you know, again, it's just been a really good tool. Was this the first tool I got? It may have been the first tool I got, this pillar drill, and I use this for doing many things, but when I first got it, it was mainly just to drill the holes in the pen blanks. So this jig fits on here, the pen blank goes in here, and then you tighten it up with these bolts, and you're able to drill the holes out basically, and also keep it nice and square and all that. And then there's also a protrusion stop up there. So yeah, this pillar drill has been really good. You have got a depth stop here as well, but I often just lower the bed and then just bring it down there, which I don't know if it's the right way to do it, but I don't know, that's what I do. And then coming down from here, you've got some drills which are in here. There's also DeWalt sander, some more wood, Forstner bits, and just some other drill bits, flat bits, some more tools down there, and hand plane and some screws. So yeah, I mean that's it. And I also store some more timber down there. And coming up, there is also some of these Bessie clamps, which I highly recommend. I mean, they are quite pricey, but you know, they're called parallel jaw clamps, and they do keep stuff really parallel. Unlike sash clamps sometimes. And I think I got 2 of these for like £35 or something. So no, they are a really good buy, and I would really recommend them. And then this is just a freezer, because it has to be in here, otherwise we wouldn't be able to keep stuff frozen. So yeah, that's basically this side of the workshop. Oh, and also there's some drawers here as well, which is not really got much in. It's just some crap and yeah, not really much. Some other sandpaper bits, and there are my dad's drawers down there full of other tools and whatever, and the drawers are a bit stiff as well. But yeah, that's them. But yeah, this is this side of the workshop. So moving on from here, there is my timber storage. I also have timber outside, just down there on an ottoman. I won't show you because it's just more wood in there. But yeah, this is some of my timber I got, like oak and beech and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, this is, I mean, it's just a rack. Sometimes it does all fall off, and it is a bit untidy, I must admit. But I don't know, it just falls off sometimes, and then I don't know. It's not the best design in the world, but it does do the job. So that is my timber storage up here. And coming down, I've also got a mortiser. This was my granddad's mortiser. I've screwed a fence on the back just to make sure it's square, and I use this for my table project, if you've seen that video, where I mortised out all of the mortises, surprisingly, and that was a big time saver, because otherwise I don't know how I would have done it. It may have been with the pillar drill or by hand, so yeah, that one would have been fun. But yeah, anyway, moving on, there is my Tormek sharpening system. I'll just move these bits out of the way. So this was given to me, well, it wasn't given, I paid £40 for it, and they're normally a lot of money. I think this is the bench crafted version, and before I used to sharpen with just a diamond file, so none of my tools were extremely sharp, and yeah, but this was, you know, really good to get. You just put water in here, and this spins with it, and yeah, you just get a really nice sharp blade from it. And then I've got all the bits with it, so there's the gouges, these are the your planes and your chisels, and that's to true it up and everything when it goes a bit out of square. Here's some other sharpening bits just for hand chisels, some more tools underneath, and there's some wood turning stuff under there. And also down here is a router plane that I recently added to the workshop. This is just a really nice tool, keeps stuff nice and flat, and I need to find a home for it really, but I haven't done that yet, so maybe that'll be a next video someplace. Up here, just a kitchen roll holder which I quickly put together. I mean, it's big crap, but it works. So yeah, we've got some files over here. We have got some ear defenders, a knife, coping saw, sliding bevel, combination square. These are alright, they don't really stay square. I rely on the engineer squares more, but you just put a pencil on the end there and it just comes along. That's what I mainly use it for. I've also got a Veritas dovetail saw, and also a Japanese Suzuki saw. There's also some dividers, and I've got some Lee Nielsen card scrapers. So below that, we've got some of my Weir screwdrivers, as well as some Stanley ones. There's not really much to say because it is just a screwdriver. I've also got some Axminster engineer squares. I especially like this little one because these are good for doing dovetails. And talking of dovetails, I've also got this Veritas dovetail marker, which is a 1:6 ratio, which is a lot easier than setting up a bevel every time. These are my Veritas marking gauges. This is just the single one, and then there's a dual one here. Got some goggles, and also some Lee Nielsen tools as well. So we've got a spoke shave, which if you've seen some of my recent videos, then you would have seen me using it in like carving, the spoon and all that. And I got some chisels, Grandad's old chisels, and some carving gouges and all that. And along here we have got a block plane, which I completely like restored. It did not used to look like this, which is, you know, a really nice block plane now. The blade's getting a bit short, so I'll have to try and find another one. Shoulder plane and a smoothing plane. So here we've got a ruler, some digital calipers, tape measures, hammers. I got this cool mallet which my mum burnt for me when she first started off wood burning. You should know what it's from. If you don't, then yeah, I don't know what's wrong with you. And then up here is another mallet that I made. And this is the Pond Workshop sign which I recently made. If you're interested in watching that video or any other videos that I've like referenced throughout the video, throughout this video, then I'll put a card up in the top right corner. Also down here is my workbench. So we've got some of these bench dogs that I've made. This is for like the thinner materials. That's for the thicker ones. And the vice kind of, you tighten this up, and you tighten the vice up, and it allows you to clamp some wood. This vice is an Axminster vice. It is a really nice vice. The only downside with it, I don't know why, I may have to glue it, is this keeps coming undone every time, and it's so you can remove the handle, and it's after a while it's really annoying. So whether I'll glue that, I'm not sure. But this bench is just made from 2x3s. It's just from B&Q, and this is just 18mm plywood on the top. It's perfect for me. You can do like hardwood tops, which I probably will do one day, but this is perfectly fine for me. And underneath is just some other tools. I got some Festool drills under there, some more chisels, and yeah, that's pretty much it with the workshop. There isn't really much else. So yes, there we go. That has pretty much been it of this workshop tour. I hope you really enjoyed watching it, just to see what tools I have, and you know, power tools, hand tools, etc. So yeah, make sure you like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below if you've got any video ideas you'd like me to do, or just to say you enjoyed the video. So yeah, that has been it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.